press conference is basically when multiple forms of media get together to interview someone who's newsworthy or someone, I guess, who we want to find out something about. In football terms, that may be a player, it may be a coach from a team, it may be someone who's in the news, an administrator or something along those lines. Being prepared is pretty important. It's really good to know some background on your subject. If it's a player, how many goals have they scored this season, how well have they been playing, how old they are, previous clubs. Perhaps they're coming up against a club that they've played for before. These are things that are very important to know before the press conference starts because they give you ammunition for the questions that you want to ask. In Australia, again, we tend to be a little more informal with these sort of things. Normally, we know roughly who the media outlets are and the questions are just asked directly to the talent. There's not usually an order to these sort of things. They often take care of themselves. There's usually the talent answers one question, the question finishes, there's a little bit of a lull, someone else will ask another question. And often with a press conference, there's a natural flow to it. If the person being interviewed follows a certain topic, says something that needs expanding on, the next journalist or the same journalist will ask a question following on from that question. So it is very important to listen to what the talent is actually saying before you ask your next question. The absolute key in asking questions in a press conference is ask the questions that people want to know. It's pretty simple. What do you want to know about the person who's being interviewed? And usually what you want to know about the person being interviewed is what everyone else wants to know about the person being interviewed. That is very important. It's a great skill, and often it is actually overlooked by a lot of people, that what the public want to know about a person should be the top priority in your head when you are asking questions. The reality is you are trying to do a job. The person answering the questions is trying to do a job too, and it's always very important to maintain a level of professionalism. When it comes to other journalists, try not to ask questions over the top of other journalists. That's a little bit of a skill in itself, but most of the time if you do watch a press conference, you'll find it doesn't happen. The reason being because most of the journalists have been to a lot of press conferences and they know the right time to ask a question. There's usually a little bit of a lull in the conversation, a little bit of a lull in the answer, or the talent finishes their answer and then the person asks. So it's pretty important not to try and cut off other journalists or cut off the talent while they're asking questions. Ask with a clear voice. Make sure that you pronounce everything properly so there's no grey area, so the person that you're asking the question to understands what you're saying, understands the context of your question, and understands exactly what it is that you want to know. That's pretty important.
Players' role at a press conference is to basically answer questions that are asked to you by reporters.
The player's role at a press conference is to provide an insight into the player's personality and thoughts, maybe to provide information within certain things that might have occurred during the game or the game coming up.
A player should prepare for a press conference by rehearsing on what he's going to say, the questions that might be asked. The questions usually relate around the football and performances, so having in your head how the team played and how you're preparing for a match is key.
A player should conduct themselves at a press conference by being respectful, using good vocabulary and good language.
Players should conduct themselves in a press conference by making sure they're appropriate, listen to the questions being asked and answer in an appropriate manner.
The most difficult part of being asked questions at a press conference is to answer them without undermining anyone and saying things bad about anyone, and obviously sticking to the path that you're and the message you're trying to convey.
The most difficult part of being asked questions at a press conference is perhaps if you're not prepared for an answer or prepared for your answer, something might have happened that you might not be able to answer as truthfully as you like.
Respect is shown by a player at a press conference towards the media by answering all their questions, not leaving anyone out, and obviously answering the questions the way they want it and the information that they want, not really avoiding questions, and never say no comment because that just makes you look like you got something to hide.
Respect is shown by a player at a press conference to the fans by allowing the fans an insight into us as people and the players into the team as well, and what we might be trying to achieve, and what might have happened or about to happen over the course of the games.
Respect is shown to the opposition in a press conference by that you outlined that they were, maybe the better team on the day and deserved to win the match.
Respect is shown to the opposition at a press conference by never having a bad word to say. Depending on how the game's gone, you should never sledge an opponent or say anything to disrespect the opponent.